Howdy everyone, welcome back. Today's video we're going to be talking about LARPers. Kind of just wanted to talk about it because they're basically everywhere nowadays. With the rise of social media, everyone has a new mask that they wear when they go online now. I kind of just call it like a digital mask that people love to show off to the world. And if you don't know what LARPing is, it's basically just kind of faking an identity to fit a certain role into certain things. And social media has definitely pushed that to an extreme because people love to show off, the most interesting parts of their life, because in reality, nobody really wants to see you just kind of, sit on the couch all day or watch Netflix all day. People love to post their newest vacation or their newest toy that they bought so they can show off to their friends, receive the amount of compliments and comments and whatever it is, just, satisfy their own ego. People love posting all the concerts they go to, all the vacations, all the trips. That's why people have those highlights in their, on their Instagram and stuff like that. And I think people are really starting to crave authenticity as of recently. But in reality, most everything you see online is just not authentic. Like, no one wants to post the boring side of their life. No one wants to post themselves doing the dishes or just watching Netflix. I mean, that can be considered B roll if you actually are starting to make content and stuff like that, and you can always put a caption over it, and sometimes it does go viral just because of the caption. So it kind of just depends what you're kind of, doing or watching. And that's just the life that most people live, though. No one really wants to see that, though. No one really wants to see the boring side of everything. No one wants to see the journey of like anything. They kind of just want everything now in some kind of way. Even when people are posting those like Yap videos or stuff like that, most of it is still fake to some degree, because a lot of people are talking a very specific way. They're kind of acting, and it's just a new way of doing things now. And I just believe everyone is LARPing, and I believe people have always been LARPing. This is just like a new way of describing everything. Like, people always wear some kind of mask when they, hang out with certain people or family or coworkers or stuff like that. Like, I just kind of believe everyone is just faking it until they make it, and hopefully that's like their own goal, and they're just faking everything that you see online. And it's definitely an issue because no one actually can really believe you anymore, which is totally understandable, and no one can really tell what's real at this point or who isn't real. And I understand social media is just mainly for entertainment. There is some value on there, I guess you could say, if you're actually looking for it, but like, even myself, not all of these videos are straight off the dome, because I personally cannot, I can't keep my brain just doesn't work that way. I can't keep everything organized in some kind of way like that. And even when I'm writing, like, for these videos, they are definitely scripted, and I have some topics that I want to talk about, and it just helps me keep organization and stuff like that. But I just kind of found myself that I just can't talk like straight off the dome. It's really hard for me. And because in reality, I'm not actually a talker. I'm pretty quiet as a person. And the thing is, though, I actually am trying to get better at writing in general, and I've kind of found an itch for it. And that's why I've been starting this channel, is because I do like writing and talking about some certain topics. And I want to get more into reading too, so I can actually, like, get better at like more abstract ideas and stuff like that. And I don't know, just when we go on social media, you think some of these videos are authentic, but most of them are just are LARPing for views and stuff. And nobody really actually talks with that tone of voice. And most videos are scripted to a degree. As someone who's been getting more into content creation, I've been writing down a lot of ideas. And I even kind of think about like certain like concepts or like camera angles or certain things like that, or certain captions that are just like intriguing for people to watch, because that's how the algorithm works, is that they want viewer retention. And the thing is, though, if you're LARPing, it just kind of helps out with all of that as well. And I think people have a misunderstanding about LARPing, because I think people really want to, they want, most of the LARPing is definitely going to be for some personal gain. And I totally understand that with the parasocial relationship and the rise of the internet and everything like that. Because when the internet first came out, like YouTube, like in 2006 or 2005 or whatever it was, and I first started getting on the internet, everything was pretty authentic because people had no idea what the internet really was. Nobody knew that it was going to be a sales funnel. You were going to get monetized. You were going to have brand deals or anything like that. People were just making content because they found it enjoyable and it was kind of just like a creative outlet for them. However, it seems like everyone is kind of doing the same thing now. And you like, I guess, like, since like Mr. Beast, like the Mr. Beastification of YouTube and stuff, people are starting to understand thumbnails and viewer retention and editing and more stuff like that. And that's basically the same thing for like TikTok, Instagram as well, because it works in the same degree. Um, I'm not saying everyone is a LARPer because there are authentic creators out there. And it just seems like authenticity is standing out more than ever just because we're always scrolling through things and finding things that just aren't really, authentic. And it's something that we're all craving. But now that I kind of think about it, even in the real world, we're all kind of LARPing to some degree, aren't we? Like we all wear that different type of mask when we're around certain people. Like you probably don't talk to your coworkers the same that you do to your best friend because they're coworkers, and most of the time you don't really want to talk about your personal life that much. I guess it depends who you're talking to and what coworker it is and how cool they are. But most people don't really want to, express their whole personal life to a coworker because work is work sometimes, and that's okay. And I have multiple different friend groups, and sometimes I'm just kind of a little bit different between certain people because I don't know how weird I can be around certain people or if you just meet certain people. Like we all wear a mask to some degree. And the digital mask is just a new addition to the costume that everyone wears. And the digital mask, I think, is just pushing people to more of an extreme now. And I don't know if it's definitely getting out of hand for literally everyone, but we're just so used to LARPing now that we don't really know what is real and what isn't anymore. And at this point, we should just assume that everything is fake. I understand that social media is mainly used for the entertainment, but I think watching things over and over again about the same topic, you start to believe what you're seeing. Like, for example, there's a lot of LARPers aren't here on YouTube. Like, if I don't know if you ever went down like the red pill community, and I feel like most people kind of have. If you're a man, kind of just trying to find a sense of purpose or whatever it is, or if you're lost, and there's a lot of communities like that talking about how hard they have it and stuff like that. I mean, like for example, I used to watch like Hamza all the time, and I definitely got out of the red pill community because I kind of was just like realizing that like it's a bunch of bull crap and they're just trying to sell you everything, which I understand make your bag and stuff, but it's just interesting to me that you would like basically fake a whole story, and maybe the story isn't necessarily fake, but you kind of understand where I'm coming from, that if you don't make yourself marketable and what's the word I'm looking for, like validate other people's like inner reality, then it's going to be hard to try and sell your courses and stuff like that. And I mean, Hamza's not just, I guess Hamza was like mainly probably like one of the first people in like the self improvement category, I guess you could say, even though it's like you can only improve yourself by so much by learning from someone else. I believe, I think the best part of learning stuff would be like being by yourself, but I guess that might be for topic for a different video. But I think a lot of people on social media are starting to like fake a story of how they came up, and I feel like this has always been a thing though, like in marketing or like in any artist and stuff. Just because it's going to sell. Like if you have like a boring story on the come up, people aren't really gonna like buy into it just because no one really cares that much. They're like, I don't know. It's like people loved hearing those stories about, that they can get their own like echo chamber satisfied and satisfying their own needs, whatever, if it's their feelings or stuff like that. But I feel like most people don't really have a hard reality as most people like to claim that they have. These people just want to be seen and heard, and I totally understand that. And people like to have their inner reality justified through someone else. And that social interaction we all crave has kind of been replaced by like social media personas. People love to not feel alone, but we're like the loneliest generation, or at least that's what people say about us. And it's kind of interesting because they're the one who created these algorithms or whatever. But people just want their experience to be, validated. But how do they know that these people aren't just, lying to them and not telling them the truth for their own personal and profitable gain? which I totally understand. Like I said, I get that bag and stuff, but the larpers are building on your trust for their own business or whatever, and they're just trying to get something out of you. And I think that's something people just need to be at least be aware of, or at least consider when they're watching these videos. Like even with this own video, I personally, do I want something out of this channel? Of course I do, and I do like making these videos as well. And I don't know, people might just put me on in the background and not actually pay attention, because I definitely do that as well on YouTube, where I'm just like eating or something. And I would say I'm pretty guilty of it too. And I do have a goal with this channel and I want stuff out of this, but I'm trying to, keep it as authentic as I possibly can. Even with these scripts, they're kind of like a one shot go, I guess. I don't really go in on these videos and edit it a bunch, just because I don't know. This is more of like a journaling thing for me, and a way of like organizing my own thoughts and understanding the world as well. And this is just something I've kind of been doing as of recently of this year, since in May. And I just thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk about this. And I just want to kind of make a video about this, about like being more careful about who you watch online, and how, if you like put money into someone, just kind of make sure that you are paying attention and stuff like that, even though it is kind of getting harder nowadays to pay attention. But just be careful out there, guys, and don't always believe everything you see on the internet. I know that's kind of just cheesy, and like everyone kind of already understands that, but sometimes it gets to people and you have to kind of ground yourself into reality once again. But thanks for watching, guys. I don't really have much more to talk about. If you guys want to support my channel, link is in the description and all stuff like that. If you guys have video ideas or want to talk about some random stuff, you can also email me as well. I would love to chat, or, kind of bring up your ideas in a video. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.